on my screen.
Loud
Hi, how
and
are you?
Fine,
Loud
fine.
and clear.
Loud and clear.
Yes, yes, sir.
Prashant is from the Guwahati High Court. So today you have somebody from the Northeast also. So if Vikas permits, I can start.
10:55.
Okay. You 5 minutes. So I'm switching off for 5 minutes.
क्योंकि we all are Indians. So invariably, तुझे 11 से ज़्यादा visitors देखोगे than at 10:55.
No. Apart from Indians, we all lawyers are used to passovers.
वो तो इसलिए करते हैं कि psychology पता चल जाए कि जज साहब का mood ठीक है कि नहीं.
That's true. That's true.
Now that
So
sir
you have to check the first 3 cases and see if they've all been dismissed. Then you take a passover. And if the judge is in a hurry, you say, please take my case first.
सर दूर तो आए हुए हैं. Arjun Shriram is in Bombay, but still he is linked up. Arjun.
I know something in Devi's asking.
Arjun Sharan.
Different visitors. Then they got Vishal Agarwal is on the first time on the board. Vishal. I'm telling you.
Vishal, unmute yourself.
I just thought that I'll not take a passover today. Let it be 101 for me. So that's why I'm there on the first.
Yeah. 101 generally gets dismissed. That's the fully prepared.
101. Sir, Vishal is confused. It's a partnered matter.
So it's a, and Corona is going to save me today. That's true. That's true.
You see, before we started this, we were discussing with Vikas. I was telling them that I think these sessions will help you because I think most court work is going to be done online now.
Looks like it.
I was today only in Delhi. They have allowed 10 benches to take the battles.
Yeah. In fact, you can have 5 minutes before every session, some lawyer arguing something and somebody behaving like it. You can have a mock court also, somewhere or the other, so that you all get used to all this.
So you want this group to dispute over the fact that who becomes the judge here?
Whoever aspires not to be a judge will be allowed to become. All aspirants will be disqualified.
Sir, taking a cue from your Passover thing, I'm present in that courtroom where this Passover thing happened. The first 3 or 5 cases were dismissed one after the other. And the gentleman gets up and says, my lord does not seem to be in a good mood today. Hence, I pray for an adjournment. And thereafter, that order also was circulated a lot over the WhatsApp. It happened before.
Yeah, I know. This is Rena. I'm proud to name the judge. Sense of humor. Actually, we need more
Not
judges.
much guessing.
We need more judges with a sense of humor. We need more lawyers also with a sense of humor. There's nothing very serious about all this. It's just you do your job, the judge does his job, and everybody goes home. That's about all.
Sir, light मुस्कुराते रहो लोगों को पता ना लगे कि तू जाए हुए.
Vikas, your sound is not very clear today.
Yes, because
Headphone नहीं लाया. Hello. Joshi had said कि I was quite audible. Desktop से problem.
So let's start. I think should we start?
So
Yes,
2
sir.
minutes still left.
It's a funny bone, not a funny sense of humor.
See, I'll introduce Prashant. Is known to me for quite some time, and Prashant Chaudhary. Prashant, can you just briefly tell them your background, your USP?
Is kind of been a challenge because from being a somnambulist, I've kind of gotten up. Like you, I followed you to Sanawar, then I graduated from Campus Law Center. I practiced for a bit in Delhi as a family court lawyer. Came to Guwahati 27 years ago. I was doing criminal law, service law. Then I was a CGSC for 9 years. I was handling extrajudicial killings in Manipur and repatriations from the Armed Forces Special Powers Act and occupation in Mizoram.
चौधरी साहब मैं कहना ਤੁਹਾਡੇ बैक पे ट्यूब लाइट चल रही होगी विजिबिलिटी मतलब ज्यादा शाइन है.
That's actually, I think, the sunlight. Let me try and close it. Sunlight. because we've had heavy rains, बहुत बारिश हुआ था, so we are looking forward to sunlight today. We had sandstorms and sunlight is a very essential part. यहाँ पर तो we need a lot of it.
Are there guns in your background?
Yeah.
Then I resigned from the government and I became a lawyer for the surrendered militants for 3 years. Then I was a CBI counsel for 6 years. 4 years I was the NIA counsel. I took part in the Jeevan Reddy Commission I was summoned by them. Then I was in Justice Santosh Hegde Commission. There were 5 test cases for this 1,528 killings, extrajudicial killings ordered by the Supreme Court to be probed. So as such, after that, I decided government is no longer a good kind of prosecution, was not really my forte after 15 years. Went back to private practice. I was having a nice, relaxed, semi-retired life till Rajiv Bhalla decided to put me back in action and pushed me back into the practice. Because I realized that 33 years of practice was more than enough for anybody. The time comes to settle down into something. And one of those things is like when we interact like this, I think it brings a lot more to the table than just preparing for a brief, going to the court. And well, after a while, you have a 70 to 80% win in a court whenever you go. If you've done your reading early in the morning and then walked into court when the judge is still half asleep at 10:30. And if you get your case through by 11, you're free by 11:30. That's, I mean, Guwahati standards, you're free by lunchtime. And you can relax in the afternoon. What I do is on holidays, I go riding horses, training the Assam police. I have other hobbies like many, I think advocates have this hobby of bonsais and all kinds of things like that. Gardening, I have a lot of flowers coming my way from Mr. Bhalla. Rajiv Bhalla sends me a lot of flowers. So I've also started growing a lot of flowers. I mean, I used to only grow orchids earlier, but now there are other kind of flowers coming into the garden. So as such, I think as a lawyer, one really learns to enjoy one's time. It's like a very friendly senior in Delhi many years ago told me at 7 o'clock, मैं अभी दुकान बंद कर रहा हूँ. So I said, sir, what do you mean? So he says, this is my whiskey time now. You have to go home. Go back to your chamber if you want to go back to chamber. He says, but I close at 7. So, well, at this stage of practice, I do the same. I close my dukaan at 7 o'clock. घर जाता हूँ.
Allah साहब हो गया time, we can start off.
जी.
चलो.
Unmute.
Thank you, Prashant,
I'll
for
just mute
introducing
everybody
yourself.
once.
Yeah. Everybody's can everybody see me and
Yes.
hear me clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Loud and clear.
Yes.
We dispense with the good mornings, dispense with the hellos, the highs, and everything. And most of you who were here last time, I'll just give a brief recap for those who were not here. And actually, that was a slightly hurried session because even I was uncomfortable. It was my first time doing such a thing, so I was a little uncomfortable, and maybe the whole thing was a little jerky. So today, I hope the comfort level is much more. So I'll dispense with the history of land laws also and come straight to what we had started with mainly. The main law is the Punjab Land Revenue Act. And what I had taken you through was that a piece of land that does not pay land revenue is not subject to the jurisdiction of the Land Revenue Act. And for that purpose, I'd refer to Section 3 and Section 4. So all of you, if you have that copy, please go through it as to why a particular piece of land is not amenable to the jurisdiction of the Land Revenue Act. If a piece of land does not pay land revenue, it's not subject. It can't be partitioned. It can't be dealt with by the revenue authorities. And the main piece of land is the land within the Abadi De. That's the land within the Landora. Then I took you through to the record of rights. If you remember, we went through Section 31. All those who are not there can just make a slight note so that they can read it later. Section 31 is in main subsections is subsection 2. Subsection 2A talks of the Jamabandi as to what is the contents of the Jamabandi. And subsection B is the statement of customs respecting rights and liabilities in the estate, which I'd asked everybody what it was. It's called the Wajib Alerts. It's like the constitution and the law of the village.
Can I call you back after half an hour, 40 minutes? Urgently.
Prashant, you'll have to put your phone on. Okay, then we have the third document called the Shajara Kishtewar. There was some confusion on this. Some people knew, some people. This is the entire map of the estate and the Yak Shajara. So if all those who were not there can just make notes quickly, Then we came to section, after that all the sections up to section 30, up to sections 43, up to 44 are the procedure for recording. I won't take you through all that. So 44 says an entry in the record of rights. This is the most important section actually. A presumption of truth attaches to such an entry. Though I had also told you, and the law is such that entries in the revenue record are not entries of title. They are only entries of evidence, but a presumption of truth attaches. Why does a presumption of truth attach to these documents is, particularly the older documents? Because it was not compulsory to register the land. There was no, sale deed did not have to be compulsorily registered. So most of the mutations were recorded in the revenue record itself, up to the time they became compulsory, and then presumption attached to the sale deed. And section 45 is the section if you want to challenge a revenue entry or
So
any rights.
Sir, Deepak Jindal has shared the section. If you want, you can refer to that. Deepak?
I have it with me exactly.
Okay. Nobody has shared it on the screen also.
Yeah, so everybody can please look at these two sections, particularly section 45. If you can read section 45, that is where majority of our civil suits for declaratory civil suits are filed under section 45, read with chapter 6 of the Specific Relief Act. You can all open by any entry in the revenue record or any revenue record, you will have to file a suit to challenge those entries. There was a question that was asked that if I don't challenge it for 20 years or 30 years, a particular entry, am I prohibited by the Limitation Act from challenging it? Otherwise, normally, so the answer to that is an entry in the revenue record is not an entry of title. It's an entry of the person responsible for payment of land revenue. Your right to challenge an entry only arises when somebody challenges your title. So technically and legally, your limitation would commence from the date there is a challenge to your title and not from the date of entry. If it were from the date of entry, almost every suit would be dismissed as time barred. So till a cloud is not cast on your title by somebody invoking the entry, you will continue, the entry will not oust your right. I'll give you an example. Suppose there's a sale deed in your favor. Let's take an example of today. And you do not file a suit, you do not get the entry in the revenue record. Lots of people would answer, then, sorry, you will not be allowed to, because of section 44, a presumption will continue to attach to the entry which is already existing. So you will not be allowed. But you have a sale deed, the title document is the sale deed. So there's no question of limitation. There's no question of the entry. Yes, somebody said something.
Nothing, sir.
Keep your mics unmuted. You'll get your chance to shoot at me any questions you want to. So
sir, we have changed the model. We have said that everybody will, any question will be on the chat box. I can read the question.
No.
And if anybody wants to get it unmuted, he will post it on the group itself, then we'll unmute him.
What I'm going to do is I'm just taking you through 43 and 46. Then I'm giving you a proper, decent, yesterday we could not put up the field map properly. Then I'm taking you to the village, the field map, how the village Khasra numbers, Khewat numbers are created, how everything is done. So I'm taking you to a very different area today. So 46 is your suit has to be filed. Now, the suit has to be filed with respect to entries in the revenue record. Now, how are these entries created? Correct? 45, everybody's read. Any questions on 43 and on 44 and 45? either later or you want right now, I can answer right now.
Sir,
There's no question.
if anybody has a question, he will post it on the chat box.
There are 12 questions, but I don't know. I can't read them right now.
No, that's what I'm saying. We will read it subsequently in the second session.
Okay.
Because if we
Okay.
start asking questions midway and we we will ask them to unmute themselves, it will create more chaos than
All right.
systematically.
You are the boss. You are the boss.
No, you are the
All
boss,
right.
sir.
Let's not fight over that.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm leaving the Punjab Land Revenue Act. Then I also took you to the Jamabandi, which contains those entries about Khewat and Khasa number. Now, how they are created? Would somebody put up that field map which I sent? I think Jaideep, I sent it to you in the morning. You have it with you, the field map of the village. Javeer, can you hear me?
I got it, sir. I'm putting it up, sir. I'm putting it up right
Just
away.
please put it up.
Got it, sir.
I hope everybody can see it.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, this is what a typical Punjab, Haryana village looks like. Now, if you can't see it too clearly, please expand it or increase the size and just come. The outer boundary which I was referring to, you can see the outer boundary, the circular boundary, correct? That is the Hadbast. Is that okay? Now, you can see the Hadbast over here, and can you see something called a Sehadda towards the left side of the screen? Yeah, Sehadda.
Under the village.
On the
This is
extreme
the
left. It's there.
extreme left, sorry, not right. This is where the pillars are put, of the boundary pillars. Burjis are different, Sehaddas are different. If you are all interested, open the land records manual. It even contains instructions as to how a Sehadda is to be constructed. And those people were so detailed, each and everything, how you got to put, it has to be coal based, it has to be chuna, has to be put inside. The entire thing is there, is not relevant for us now. So here I was talking to you, how do they now, can you see all these rectangles inside the village?
Yes, sir.
You
Yes,
can
sir.
see all these rectangles. You can see all these divisions. Now, can you see a center line called a baseline? If you come right to the bottom, there's a word written baseline.
Towards the right of Sehadda, yes.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, this is the line when they're going to demarcate the land, particularly when you're going to give Khasa numbers and Khewat numbers. This is the line they will draw right through the village. This is the line the revenue authorities will draw. This is a line that goes from north to south. Is that correct? Now then they will draw lines from east to west, bifurcating this line, and they'll keep coming down right till the end. And then they will continue to divide it. So you'll get these big rectangles, not to be confused with the rectangles as yet. Then they'll make different rectangles. Each rectangle, sorry, I think by mistake I said 26. This large rectangle has 25 rectangles in it, smaller rectangles.
Yes.
Each small rectangle is a Khasra number, and the 13th number, there'll be 12 on top and 12 at the bottom. They'll move from left to right in a spiral manner. Urdu is written in the Ulta. Urdu is written Ulta from our script. So therefore, this was all done during those times. So they moved from this side to this side like this in a spiral. And they came down like this, and they were mentioned. And the center was the 25th number. Sorry, I think I said 26 yesterday. Here, if you can see this.
25th, yes.
All right, you'll find this. Now, can you see a number over here? Now, each one, the 25th number will be the rectangle number, which we call the mushtatil. If you can please note Urdu, mushtatil, mushtatil. Mushtatil is the Urdu word which means rectangle. So when you come across rectangle number 22 or mushtatil number 22, and then you have a double line after it, that means the words to the left are the rectangle number and not the khasa number. After that, you'll have the khasa numbers 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yesterday, I didn't have this map, etc. with me, so I couldn't tell you all this. Now, please keep your questions ready for all this. The mushtil number is the one which is on the left of a double line which you draw like this, like two hyphens, and the khasa numbers are on the right, and each khasa number will also give it size. Now each of this large rectangle, correct? I told you it is 25 acres and 25 khasa numbers. So each khasa number, correct, this will be divided into 25. I hope you understood that. So each of these 25 ones is one khasa number. Then I explain to you what is a Jazbi number. Now I'll try and explain from this map itself what is a Jazbi number. A Jazbi number is an incomplete number. If you see this moon-shaped line towards the right,
Yes.
this is inside this is the Abadi Day of the village. Now, when they draw a rectangular line, they'll draw a rectangular line even covering the Abadi, actually, those rectangular lines. They'll draw even covering it. But they'll rub that part out. So what will happen will be the khasa numbers which are right next to the Abadi may not necessarily be 8 canals. One khasa number is 8 canals. So it will be less than that. So either they will merge it into the preceding, or the succeeding khasa number to make it more than 8 canals. But if the khasa number is 2 canal, then they'll leave it as such. Then they'll give it a separate khasa number. So now you will, we don't have the measurements of these khasa numbers here. That Jamamandi somehow is missing from my record. So therefore, this is the type of land. This is all agricultural land, correct? Now, this is Abadi Day. Now, Abadi Day is always assigned one khasra number. It will never have more than one khevat or more than one khasa number. Possession is the rule of ownership within the Abadi Day. If you see all these things, Abadi Day, there is no separate divisions. If you can see this within the Lal Dora, correct? Now there is something known as Numbri plot. If you see these within the Abadi Day, can you see this? I just said that there are no numbers signed in the Abadi Day. But this seems to be a contradiction in terms. So what are these? These are the badas, etc., which are allotted to the residents of the Abadi Day, and they are given numbers from 1 onwards till they finish. 1, 2, 3, 4. They don't have a khevat number. They don't have a khata number. They only have a number. But since they appear under the column of khasra number, so normally everybody refers to them as khasra number 120. Though technically speaking, that is wrong. That's not a khasra number. It's a, like you would say, plot number, bada number, Rudi number, etc., etc. I hope most of you understand Rudi, bada. If you don't, please, I'll explain that to you later. So I think this is what I've done yesterday. So I just wanted to sum it up now. Now, what we didn't do that day was, we didn't do the harvests because there was not much time and I was not going through. So can I will ask you questions later. We have the Rabi and Kharif, Hadi and Soni. Which? This is a question I am going to ask you guys.
Sir,
Which is Hardy, which is Song?
Sir, I'm bothering you for a minute. You just think that everybody is a novice, nobody knows anything, because majority of them who are participating in this thing, they would believe that they are not knowing anything. So you can just believe that that would become
first
easier.
step to understanding is acknowledging that you don't know it. So there will be people who know it.
Yes.
All right. So this is what I'm going to tell you. I'll answer. It's better to answer in a question-answer form. These small things. Okay. So now I will also explain to you. You've seen Khasra Gadavri. We'll take you very little to the Khasra Gadavri.
So Vishal has asked one question. Kindly give an example of Mushtil with complete number, including Khasra, etc. from the map.
From the map, can you see one number called 21 or 22?
Javeed, post the map.
Center, right in the center, you can see 20.
Kindly post the map.
Yeah. So Javeed has posted it.
Javeed, can you just circle 20?
Yes, sir. I can see 20. With
Now,
the
below
double.
20, there's a double line mentioned.
That's right, sir.
That is the Mushtil number.
Right, sir. So how would
On
you
the
write
left side will be the Khasar numbers.
Right, sir.
Correct?
Right,
now,
sir.
left, right will be Khasar numbers till you get 12 this side and 12 that side. They have
Right,
not made separate rectangles because this is actually reproduction of the Akshajara. It's an Akshajara.
Right, sir.
Reproduction of the Kishra Shajara Kishtwa.
Right, sir.
Okay? So
Right, sir.
20 is the Khasar, is the Mushtil number or the rectangle number. 14, 15, 11, 12 are the
Khasra numbers.
Sure, numbers.
Correct? Now you start with the next one. So these will, and this actually, this Khasar number 20 should be in red always.
Okay.
If you will see the original map, it is the red which will indicate the Mushtil on the left and numbers on the left and right. So this will always be there, this double hyphen which you are saying, 20. This means on the left is the number given is the Mushtil number. On the right will be the Khasra numbers.
Right, sir.
So there should be no dispute on that, no confusion on that ever. That what is the Khasra number and what is this number. Kevat numbers, don't confuse them as yet with that.
Right.
Mushtil number, this will come in the Kevat number is the ownership number. It's like your bank account. You have a bank account, you have a bank account number. And the Kevat and the Mushtil and the Khasra numbers are the money you have.
Right, sir. Right, sir.
Okay? The rupees you can say are the Mushtil and the change is the Khasra numbers.
The Khasra numbers. So basically this rectangle which is the Mushtil number is 20, in which these Khasra numbers 1 to 25 would fall in this Mushtil number 20.
Yeah. Now can you find some other ones also?
Yes, so 21 is on its left. So that below 21, that's the Mushtil number, and that just around them is the Khasra numbers in that Mushtil number, that is 1 to 25 again.
Yeah, so
that's
everybody look at it, please. Everybody don't look at me, look at the map. The map is more interesting than I am.
Right, so thank you, sir. My question stands answered.
Answered?
Yes.
Anybody else with a question?
I have a question. Yeah. On the upper left-hand corner, number 8 has a small indication with a dot inside a square. Can you
Number
please tell
6.
us? It is on the upper left-hand corner. 13 is the 13 is a what was that term that you used?
Mustatil number. 13
Mustatil.
is the Mustatil number,
yeah,
and just above that.
Just above that. And there's
Shant,
also.
I'd love to hear you saying Mustatil.
Mustatil, sir.
Mustatil. Mustatil.
Actually, I made lots of lawyers pronounce it in court also. We used to all have a nice laugh, including me and the lawyer also.
It is very mushkil to say Mushtil number.
See, yeah. That's the way how a judge deflects a question also.
I'm deflected.
But I can't figure out 8 and dot where it is. I'll look at it later. I'll answer it later if I can. Otherwise, the question stands deflected.
Okay. But we'll wait for your reflection on it.
Okay. Yeah. So I think any questions on this part on the mustatil versus the equal to rectangle and the khasa numbers. I had given you the entry in the land records manual yesterday. So please open it quickly if you have it with you, or if Jaideep can just put it up. Jaideep, quickly. You have who has the land records manual?
What section, sir, are you referring to? I'll have it put up, sir. What section, sir?
The land records manual.
I think I was referring to section 7 yesterday.
7?
7.41 of the land records manual. Just wanted to tell you where it is. It's column 6. If somebody can get it out quickly. Otherwise not, I'll read it out.
Javeer will also try. Meanwhile, Sumit.
Yesterday somebody else had it.
Sir, Sumit Jain was doing it.
Okay. Sumit,
I suppose Sumit is also on the board.
Sir, I'm trying.
I put it.
Yeah, if you can flip the page. Change
Javeer,
the page
flip the
to
page.
6.
Sir, I'll open it from the wait. I'll just 7.4.
Okay. In the meanwhile, I'll read it out to you guys. I'll read it out. Okay. This is column number 7. Please remember, column number 7 contains the khasa number and the mushtatil number of the Jamabandi. Is the field of khasa number
Sir is not audible. Please unmute.
I'm not audible?
No, sir, in between some people just start the mic. That becomes a problem. Then I have to mute all. Then it slightly takes time.
Okay.
Yes.
I hope that's clear now. This is the entry which will explain to you. Column number 7. Para is 6, but column number is 7. And then yesterday, I'd also referred to you about the Khatani. So if you just read a little bit above that, if a share in a joint holding is sold or mortgaged certain fields and the transferor obtains possession, the name of the latter will be shown in the column, not in column number 4 of ownership. He will be given a Khatani, not a Khewat number. Now suppose a co-sharer, I was explaining to you that co-sharers can have separate Khatanis also. Suppose a co-sharer sells a part of the land and delivers possession, that person will not be recorded under the ownership column. He'll be recorded under this column number 5, and he'll be given a separate Khatani, not a separate Khewat. Why? Because separate Khewat can only be given once you partition the land. Then only do you become a Khewatdar. Till that time, you are just a co-sharer. So a separate Khewat is not given to a person who purchases land without partition. Therefore, you got to move for partition. And for partition, you will again come to the revenue authorities if it is subject to land revenue. If it is not subject to payment of land revenue, then you will go to the civil court straight for partition. You have to remember this part also. That payment of land revenue officer. And please try and understand there are 2 parts in the Revenue Act. There's a revenue court also, and there's a revenue officer also. So please don't confuse the 2 things. Revenue officer has different powers. Revenue court has different powers. Revenue court actually rendered irrelevant in view of the Punjab security of land tenures when we secured the rights of tenants. So all those rights which were to the revenue courts, except a few rights which survive, we don't use anymore. So I hope this is all clear. And these were things which somehow I got left out. And column number 9, what I was referring to, column number 9 regarding the rent, that's contained in column number 9. And how it is done is all recorded there. So please go through that. And now there was also a question.
It's a question I can read. I will read the question.
Yeah, please.
Anurag has asked whether Bada, Rudi and plot number are same.
Yes, but it'll be written in the field book. Please go to the field book. There's a field book maintained at the time of settlement of the village and even at the time of consolidation. In the field book, it is recorded what land is what. If the land is consolidated, then in the scheme of consolidation, there'll be a clause that badas will be allotted to residents, and badas and the field numbers will be given in the scheme, which I'm going to come to now. Because I am introducing you today, leaving you actually with a little introduction to the Consolidation Act. Because if I take you through land records and I don't take you to Consolidation Act, which is the foundation for preparation of land record, so then it becomes meaningless and it just becomes a reading of a paper and nothing more. So the field book is one of the most important documents which we as lawyers, even as judges, because in the High Court it doesn't come, it comes to us almost as everything has been done. But if you're doing an original matter, in order to determine the area of the land or to determine the area of a Khewat number or of a Khasra number or the area of a Bada, you have to go to the field book. Field book will contain the measurement of each arm. So if there's a dispute, and in fact today there are hundreds of disputes with respect to Badas within Abadi Day. In some villages, you'll find even Badas which are outside the Abadi Day also. So it's not as if it's a very clear, it's a gray area which is still evolving as to what are the rights here. Now these rights, Badas were supposed to be where you kept your cattle and you kept all the cow dung, etc. The rudis were also there. You kept even your the trees which had been felled, wood, because it was wood-fired food. So all these things were like areas which had been demarcated in a village right from the beginning, because a village, it was a community. You had separate areas for artisans, you had separate areas for kumhars, separate for nais. Everybody had his own separate area. So all these things, and that's how even those developed. Those many panas, tholas, pattis came as a result of all this reservation of common land. So with this, more or less, I'm covering this. Except, okay, you.
Sir, another question is: if Jamabandi has a separate Khewat number, would it conclusively mean partition is done, even in the absence of any partition record?
See, the document of Jamabandi, if it records, say, me having a separate Khewat, a presumption arises that I am the owner of that land. How that came to me is for me to establish if it is challenged, because only a presumption of truth attaches under the Evidence Act. Now, how presumptions are proved and how presumptions are disproved is a part of the Evidence Act. That is why this act did not make a declaration that this is an entry of ownership. Primarily, these are only physical entries meant for the British to determine how much is each owner going to pay who they refer to as owner. But in law, he's not the owner. He's the person responsible for payment of the land revenue. Make this very clear. There are hundreds of judgments starting from the Supreme Court and of our court on this. But these are merely revenue entries. That's why the word revenue. Revenue entries which will determine the identity of the person who will pay the money and deposit it with the Lambardar, and who will then deposit it in the government treasury. That was the method. Now, why was land revenue so important? Because you had the East India Company. It was a company. It was not a state at that time. So they had to run their affairs also. So in Punjab and in the northwest Punjab, if you remember, starting almost from the border of Afghanistan right down to Rajasthan, going up to China, UP, etc., reaching that area. So they had to run this area. And 1848, they took over all Punjab except for the kings who we had. So they had to run this place. They had to have their own troops. They had to feed them. They had to pay them. So the major income was land revenue. Therefore, so much stress was laid on land revenue. Therefore, you had almost 6 settlements Now, settlements. What were settlements actually? Give you a little background of what a settlement was. Settlement was, suppose I and the other person, the settlement officer would come to the village and would determine the rights. At that time, the revenue officer had a right like a civil court. So you could go to him also and he would settle the rights of each party. Because before the British came in, we didn't have written records as such of each parcel of land. By the time the British left, we had records of each inch of land in this part of the country. Each inch. There was no land which was not left demarcated. There was no land which did not have a Khasra number, a Khewat number, a Katoni number, its nature, what is the nature of the land. Coming to the nature of the land now. You must have heard of various types of lands. You know Chahi, you know Nehri, Chari, Chahi, Nehri, correct? Not much of a problem in that. Then you have Banjar Kadeem and Banjar Jadid. And then you have Gair Mumkin. Can you write down this if you have a piece of paper? Banjar Kadeem and Banjar Jadid. That is where the problems arise for young people. The moment they read, once it is pronouncing the words, and two, there is understanding what. But Urdu is a very precise language. When I explain these words, it will take me at least 2 sentences to explain each word. Banjar Kadeem, Banjar Jadid, Gair Mumkin. These 3 words, others are easy to. Nehri and Chahi and Barani are all which are irrigated in some form or the other, somewhere or the other. Now, Banjar Kadeem and Banjar Jadid are lands which have remained vacant. Banjar Kadeem is land which has remained unharvested or no crops on it for 4 harvests, 4 continuous harvests. And after 8 harvests, it becomes Banjar Jadid. So if you, now why these are important, why it's important to understand all this. Now if a person files a suit for injunction and says, I am in possession of the land, and the court asks him to bring the revenue record, and the land is written Banjar Jadid or Banjar Kadeem, straight away as a counsel on the opposite side, you'll say, this is his entire case has got no basis because this land was not being cultivated. So he will bring a Khasra Girdavri which will show cultivation, but which will you rely on, the Jamabandi or the Khasra Girdavri? You will rely on the Jamabandi because presumption of truth attaches to a Jamabandi and not to a Khasra Girdavri. Khasra Girdavri only has persuasive value. It's not to be confused with the annual record which is written in section 31. That's something different. So please understand that is why this is very, very important. And then you have Gair Mumkin. Okay, I think we can leave that to the question. Any other questions?
So I can read that. Prashant Chaudhary asks, were these areas demarcated according to the Guild of Professions followed by the village inhabitants, or was it caste-based area allocation?
These areas were demarcated without reference to any caste, creed, religion. They were simple demarcations. Yes, within these areas, you had pattis, panas, and tholas, which were caste-based, which were religion-based, where the co-religionists or the co-caste people got a piece of land where they were separate owners. That was called Shamlat Patti, Shamlat Thola. Otherwise, it was a very secular organization, though over the last, I'm sorry to say that over the last 30, 40 years, now we have even in the Punjab and in Haryana, we have scheduled caste chopals. In Punjab, we have Sikh Gurdwaras and a non-Sikh Gurdwara. We have temples also, which are running in the same fashion. So we have actually destroyed the whole system. It was a very secular, simple system. They implemented every community, every caste, every religion across the board. So it was a secular system of extracting money from the people. Does that satisfy, Prashant? Unmute.
Yeah, I have a follow-up. So this act in Punjab is from which year? And
1887.
yeah. So in terms of the 1950 Constitution, Article 14, equality, has this been amended so that, say, anybody from a different area can live next to a person from a forward-based caste or something?
In Punjab and Haryana, we have no such division.
Okay.
There is no such division. Even
Okay.
within those pattis and all, people live within those areas. It's not a division. It's only the ownership of the land is different, and they co-religionist also, they can sell it to a non-religionist also, or a person from the other tribe also. It was not. It is tribal only in word, that this is tribal law which we refer to. But otherwise, it's not tribal in that sense that there's a prohibition on a particular patti or a panna selling it to anybody else.
So 2 questions are there. One is by Deepak Verma, Anurag Verma. No, there are 3 by Neha Sonewal. But since it's 11:40, it's the time for break.
No,
if
we
you
won't
want, we
break.
can
Let's
continue.
Let's continue.
Okay, we continue.
Unless somebody wants to.
Okay, he can leave in between if they want. We can continue with the meeting, right, sir?
Yeah. Questions, please.
Sir, I can read the question.
Yeah.
Deepak Verma is Gauri Rampal is asking, can Patwari change revenue entry in tenancy column after the death of the original lessor and enter the name of his legal heirs even if patta is not inheritable? Can he do so without entering mutation or intikal in Reading? Or is it only for the title holders?
I'd like to ask a question. What is she referring to? What?
I will unmute Gauri and she can speak.
Please do.
Yeah.
Yes, I can see you, Gauri.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you and see you.
Okay. Good afternoon. Good morning, sir. So my question is, in the land revenue record, the original owners are shown. The original owners are dead, and the original patta holders are also no more. So the title continues with the intakal. The title holders come, their mutation entries are entered, but in the tenancy column, even though it is a inheritable, not heritable patta, the entries of the legal heirs of the deceased patta holders have been entered without following due procedure of law of entering mutation.
Can you tell me which is this patta which is not heritable?
Sir, as per the terms of the patta, after the land tenures, Punjab land tenures, securities or land tenures act was passed, this patta was signed between the parties, and it
an agreement, but
terms,
that itself is contrary to the Security of Land Tenures Act.
Yes, sir.
Security of Land Tenures makes all tenancies heritable.
Sir,
the original Punjab Land Revenue Act tenancies not being heritable no longer applies.
Right, sir.
All tenancies are heritable. His entry he cannot make without giving notice to you, to the owners.
So, sir, the intakal of the in the tenancy column is also required after the death of the original patta?
Yes, absolutely.
So, if there is no red ink, no procedure followed, that means
see the original entry. It will be in the register. If he has done it without following procedure, you have a right to file an appeal before the collector. Provided it has not become a part of the Jamabandi. Once it's become a part of the Jamabandi, then the revenue authorities have no jurisdiction. Then section 45 will come in. It's good you asked this question. And therefore you'll have to file a suit for declaration. Revenue officers' jurisdiction is ousted once the entry comes in the Jamabandi. They cannot change the Jamabandi. The only situation they can do it is, there's something called the Fard Badar, means correction of technical mistakes or clerical mistakes. That's all. They have no jurisdiction. So you have to go to go in appeal. Don't let it.
It would be in the civil code because it has entered in the Jamabandi.
So file a suit for declaration. File a suit for declaration. Two declarations. One, entry made without notice to the owner. Two, You press your point of heritability. Let the court decide it.
Yes, sir.
One small advice to everybody: never be a judge in your own cause.
So actually, there is
Let the judge make his own mistakes.
the findings of the Patta have been ossified till up to the Supreme Court. So in that
so
it has been held that it is not heritable. It is not for perpetuity.
So then go ahead, na? But you'll have to. No, I don't know whether you'll have a clever lawyer on the other side or a not so clever lawyer.
Very clever lawyers.
Should I read the second question, sir?
Yeah, please do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, Neha Sonawane has asked, please explain Gair Mumkin in detail.
Gair Mumkin.
Slightly in detail.
Okay. Gair Mumkin is land which is not cultivable. Please understand the emphasis on Gair Mumkin is land which is not cultivable. I'm not saying not cultivated. It is no longer cultivable. Now, when you talk of a road, you say Gair Mumkin Sadak. When you talk of a Bada, Gair Mumkin Bada, it is taken out of the cultivated land. You talk of a Makan, Gair Mumkin Makan. It is not cultivable. Whereas Banjar Kadeem and Banjar Jadeen, which are also not being cultivated, are cultivable. They are 4 harvests and 6 harvests, I explained to you, but they are cultivable. So therefore, we don't use the word Gair Mumkin over there. Now, why the British put this terminology? Because Gair Mumkin, no land revenue. Banjar Kadeem and Banjar Jadid, land revenue. Though it is not being cultivated, but because it is cultivable. So the difference is cultivable and cultivated. I told you last time also, I don't remember my judgment. There's one detailed judgment explaining this. Cultivable and cultivated. If somebody can access it, you can circulate it amongst yourselves. In the context of Banjar Kadeem, Banjar Jadid and Gair Mumkin, it was a Gair Mumkin Makan or something. I think it was under probably the Northern India Canal and Drainage Act. I don't remember correctly what it was and why it came up. Is that clear?
Neha?
Can't see her.
So next question is by Sumit Jain. Is revenue still being paid by an individual landowners so as to distinguish the applicability of Punjab Land Revenue Act on such lands on date?
See, please understand, the obligation to pay land revenue remains, but the government has exempted payment of land revenue. So it's not as if land revenue has been abolished. It's like, suppose tomorrow you have house tax. Government says we are abolishing house tax. You will not pay it. It's not that they've abolished land revenue. They've said we will not recover land revenue. There's a difference between an obligation and an obligation being put in abeyance. So here, these lands, now they are not writing the recovery of land revenue because governments have exempted payment of land revenue. And not that they were very big amounts. They are very small amounts, but during the British time, people could not pay land revenue actually because land value was very little, crops were very little, and many lands you'll come across if you go down to the cases of Lahore or you go down to the earlier cases, you will find lands being auctioned for payment of land revenue. That is why that provision in the Punjab Land Revenue Act, if you all remember, recovery by payment of arrears of land revenue, that came in because of this, because people are not paying land revenue, so they were recovered as arrears of land revenue. Now every government due is recovered as arrears of land revenue. So this is how it came in, and unfortunately, so therefore, when we got independence, the governments exempted land revenue. No question of payment of land revenue. So the obligation remains, but the obligation is in abeyance. Next question.
Rajiv Joshi is asking, coming to limitation, if someone has participated in the mutation proceedings affected in the revenue record, but would like to challenge them after the expiry of 3 years, would the suit be barred by limitation and taking the plea that such mutations, maybe on the basis of will, etc., was known to the knowledge of the prisoner?
My question is, your question is twofold. One is whether limitation would apply to the order passed by the revenue officer. My answer specifically is no. You'll have to explain to the honorable bench or the judge that the order of a revenue officer neither confers nor divests anybody of title. Once that is not there, no divestiture or conferment of title. Therefore, my right to challenge it does not commence. My right, I can still challenge. I am not challenging the order of the revenue officer. Please don't make this mistake. Don't challenge the order of the revenue officer till it is not put into a jamabandi in a suit. You challenge the will, and it's only the cloud is from the will. So will normal limitation applies to will, not from the date of the revenue officer's order, because it neither confers nor divests. Even if a will is held to be legal and valid, it is held to be legal and valid by a revenue officer only for the purpose of payment of land revenue or assessment of land revenue, though we don't pay it anymore. Is that clear?
And Neha has expressed that her query stands clarified. Meanwhile, Vishal Agarwal has been kind enough to post the judgment which had been referred by you. That is named as, cited as Brahmo Devi versus Joginder Singh. The citation is also on the board. So anybody who wants to jot it down, it can be done.
That's the difference between cultivable and cultivate.
Sir, slight clarification. The question was.
You can do it in the afternoon.
Okay. Okay.
Sir,
we'll get, this will become a long discussion.
And
there are contradictory judgments on both sides, and I'll tell you why. There are contradictory judgments because most of the benches which have given those judgments have not gone to the basis of the rights conferred by the order of a revenue officer. Even a judgment of a revenue officer affirmed by the Supreme Court,
yes, sir,
does not operate in a civil suit.
Yes, sir. It remains a gray area, sir. We will discuss later. No problem.
Because unfortunately, people don't listen to my lectures. Sorry. That's being too presumptuous.
No, sir. Like that day, we said that these are all voluntary participants. Nobody is a captivated participant. So everybody has come off its own.
We are captivated participants. We are not captive participants.
Captives are, when one gives the lecture in the Judicial Academy to those magistrates, then then they are your captives. Because they don't laugh, they don't smile, they don't ask questions also.
The only difference is today it's a captivating session.
No, because
Yes,
that was the first time I had done it also. And
Sir, Deepak, the next question is by
Mr. Dhaval Bhandari.
Dhaval Bhandari says he loves being tortured by you.
So next time I'll put him on the. Prashant, please do that. Do the honors of how you roast the pig.
Anurag Jain.
Sorry, no offense intended, please, to anybody.
Anurag Jain has posed a question: who is the owner of Bada?
Bada is the person to whom it is allotted. He'll be the owner. There'll be a list of Badas in the revenue authorities. Problem is, people do not summon those documents from the revenue officers. Or the revenue officer says, I don't have this. So then you've got to go to the consolidation scheme where it'll be written that Badas are, and then you got to confront him. See, problem is with our profession. Let me be very clear. Let me be very, very clear. Problem is with us. I'm using the word us because I'm a lawyer and I'm a part of this now, part of all this. We do not work enough on our briefs. It's very simple. You summon the scheme of consolidation and confront that man with the scheme of consolidation. That here, Badas, why don't you have the record? The problem is the lawyer will sit down quietly and say, Judge Sahab, agla swal. This is the problem. We don't go right down to the basis of revenue. We don't, not your fault. They don't teach it in law college. That's the whole problem. and then they say we are next question.
So next question is Dheer has asked he wants to pose a question. So Dheer can unmute himself and ask.
He wants to
Good morning.
Good morning.
Sir, I just want a clarification that you said Bancha Kadem is non-harvest for 4 crops, and Bancha Jadir is 8 crops. Is it correct or is it reverse?
Pardon? Yeah, I think I've said it reverse. I will said it reverse by mistake. You're right.
Yes. Kadem is 8 crops and Jadir is 4.
It's the other way around.
Right. Thank you.
The other way around.
So,
thank you.
I knew you were cross-examining me.
Jagjot Lali has a question. Is BADA transferable?
See, actually BADA should not be transferable because they are supposed to be used for common purposes by the person to whom it is allotted. But unfortunately what's happened is, since almost all our villages have come into urban areas, so those lands now no longer are used for, what do you call them, pathis, or for storage of anything, or for cattle, no longer used. So people are transferring them, and the revenue officers are registering sale deeds also. So it is transferable. There is no illegality as such, unless the BADA vests in the Gram Panchayat. What happens is, there are lots of people are not able to establish that this BADA belongs to me. Therefore, it becomes vacant land within Gram Panchayat in Haryana. Remember, in Haryana, vacant land within the Lal Dora vests in the Gram Panchayat in Haryana. So, if you are not able to establish that this BADA was allotted to me during consolidation, it will necessarily go off to the Panchayat and you will not have a right to transfer it. So you've got to prove, that's what I'm referring, that please work on your briefs a little, ask the client to bring the scheme of consolidation. If he doesn't understand it, you have a very powerful weapon nowadays called the RTI. Use that, get the documents under that, and you'll be able to prove it. If you don't have a right, you don't have a right. Next.
So Vipul Wadhwa, who is fortuitously would be also one of the speakers in one of the sessions, he's asking a question: is conversion of land possible in these areas?
Yeah. Where is Vipul? I can't see him.
Vipul, you can unmute yourself and ask.
Sir, yes. Good morning, sir. Just want to check that in all these areas, especially in village areas where you're saying that the vacant land will be panchayat. So, how does one get the land area transferred? So basically, from our agriculture to a commercial or a semi commercial.
You have to go under that there are 2 acts in Haryana. No? You have to go under that and apply for change of land use, but not of panchayat land. The scandal in Haryana is that land which was common land and Jumla Mushtarka Malkan, which I'll come to in the next lecture when we'll do consolidation, that has been misappropriated. They say appropriated, we say misappropriated by hundreds of builders, and in fact it starts right from the boundary of Chandigarh. You start from Zirakpur right up to the end of Gurgaon, and then if you leave Chandigarh again, right from here, all these your Nayagram, everything, it's all, and all those with due deference to all those big officers and big politicians who have all these lands over here, most of the land is common land. And matter is pending in the High Court for many years. But since those people are too powerful, they somehow manage to get away with everything.
Right. Thank you.
So next question.
Because land is within Abadi Day. And once the land falls within municipal limits or within the limits of a local authority, then it no longer remains a revenue estate, except if it is exempted. The problem in the north of the country is, like in Chandigarh also, there are many areas, villages where the Abadi has been excluded while acquiring the entire land. So that becomes, that's the wild west of the urban area. You can do anything. You are in Delhi, you see Delhi, all your Shahpur Jat and all these things, what are they?
Lal
Yeah,
Dora land.
that's Lal Dora land, which you call Lal Dora land. That's land to which no law applies.
Right.
So they are the lawless lands of the country.
So
Any
Mr.
other-
Mr. Bansal has asked how changed the entries in the Jamabandi by way of Fard Badar, whether that change by way of Fard Badar etc. is valid.
Fard Badar is a change only of clerical mistakes in the Jamabandi while transcribing one entry from one Jamabandi to the next Jamabandi. Correct? So it's only clerical errors, but lots of let's call it simply Heraperi is done by sleight of hand by the Patwari. Instead of entering a Fard Badar, which is a correction of numbers or names, he introduces different people. So Fard Badar is actually a very important document for people who want to cheat. So they use it, but you can get it set aside. There's no issue as such.
So DK Singhal is asking what is the purpose for allotment of Bara and who are eligible to get it?
The residents of the village who live within the Abadi, that's all. And the purpose of the entry, the purpose of a Bada is to allow you use for common purposes. So whatever not. Village does not in a house in
sorry to bother you. For 1 minute you were just paused. You would have to repeat the answer.
Okay, you muted me.
Yeah.
You dared to mute me, you mean? Sorry. That is talking like the judge.
No, that only shows to err is human and to forgive is divine. And divine in this case is yourself.
So I've forgiven you.
Thank you.
Anyway, a Bada is allotted at the time of consolidation. All these, that village map which I showed you is a consolidation map, which is created during consolidation. So each one, if somebody can put up that map again, I think
fortuitously Javeer is not there. I will ask Sumit Jain if he can help it.
This map I think is with Javeer because
then Yajur, you will have to call Javeer.
It's put on your WhatsApp group also actually.
No, Sumit has posted it. Sir, Sumit has posted it.
Okay, thank you.
As usual, Sumit is spot on.
Now, can you see these numbering plots within the Abadi Day? These ones and the ones where the hand is going.
Yes, sir.
These are Badas. They are called numbering plot. And so now what happens is you want to store your pathis. You understand pathis, all of you? The cow dung or the rudis. You want to put rudis because we need to feed the cattle in winter. So you got to store the food for the cattle. That's that straw, etc. So you make those. You must have seen those bundles, huge bundles which are tied with a rope. Those are called rudis. So you put them here, and that time there used to be firewood also. So you stored in your own badas. So badas were actually for common use of a particular person or his family, etc. Does that answer the question?
Yes. And next question is by Rajiv Joshi. These days, some urban areas have khasra numbers, rightly or wrongly. When
See, all those who ask more than one question will have to contribute to the coronavirus fund.
Anybody
each. Okay, Rajiv, please start.
No, we can start off with every question which is answered. He has to contribute 100 rupees to the PM COVID fund.
One fund, perfectly all.
We can start with 100 rupees only.
Okay.
That's not a bad class. 100 rupees for the nation cause.
Nobody's going to ask questions then.
Sir, if that be so, I can ask you innumerable questions. I have so much in advance.
Then I'll charge you my lawyer fee. Okay, please.
So Joshi is asked, these days some urban areas have khasra numbers, rightly or wrongly. When civil court orders the revenue authorities to demarcate some particular plot, they often report there was no pakka thada meaning thereby a fixed point. Should these reports be rejected outrightly by the courts if the report is given by a local commissioners saying that there was no fixed point to commence the demarcation point?
Okay, I'll answer this now. Please put up that map again, that village map. The map shows that everything has been divided into rectangles. The map is not created with respect to any pakka points. Is that correct? Now this pakka point thing is a 1910 Financial Commissioner instructions, which unfortunately till today are a part of the High Court rules and orders also on how to do demarcation. Everybody, including myself, I also forgot to get them amended when I was a High Court judge. Now you have this rectangles. So where's the question of any problem? All you have to do is you got to take the Akshajara, part of the Akshajara, put it on that land and say, this is what the Akshajara shows. Now, if there's any other property in those lands, it's very simple. So, but unfortunately, courts have not accepted this because of the lack of an amendment. Somebody has to challenge it.
Those financial commissioners' instructions as well as the High Court rules confuse the issue all the more. I have read so many reports given by the local commissioners who often are the tehsildars or the revenue authorities saying कि मौके दे उत्ते कोई पक्का ठड्डा नहीं मिल सकिया.
Yeah, so because I'll tell you why. I told you yesterday.
Yes, sir. Please let me complete this. Fair भी एक point नु निशान मानते हुए उतों measurement start की थी. Oh, sir. Then how logical that remains?
In my opinion, that's entirely incorrect.
Yes.
Because nobody is using this rectangular map, this map of rectangles. Now, just if we go back to that, we had just done rectangle number 20 plus khasar number so and so, correct? Each khasar number is 8 canals. So where's the problem? If you enhance this and then find out from there, everything is given here. So if there's nothing, if there's somebody's constructed a house in that, he'll have to tell you which khasar number, correct? Which part of khasar number. So you have, now let's presume he's constructed in rectangle number 15, khasar number 14. Now he will have to decide how much is the area of his land. He will tell you how much he's occupied. 14 can't be more than 8 canals. So somebody has to now bell the cat as far as this law is concerned. And you can challenge the vires of the High Court rules and orders and say this is wrong. In my opinion, it's entirely wrong. And that rules were issued when everything was in bigas and biswas, and one biga could be of 100 bigas and the other biga could be 2 biga. So, and it was never rectangular, it was triangular, all sorts of shapes. So therefore, pakka points were necessary. The shapes were very different.
And the problem is complicated all the more where the owners have sold some shares and not some specific numbers.
Joshi, speaker no thoda ja theek rakho, proper nahi aa rahi awaaz.
Then you have to seek partition, na? Go for partition then.
That's right, but in those urban areas, in most of those urban areas where the khasar numbers still continue,
civil court.
So basically, the
revenue estate there's a demise of the revenue estate. The revenue estate has ceased to exist.
That's right, sir.
सर अनम्यूट कर दो
which कई और ऑन कर देना है, वो कंफ्यूजन कर देंगे. Bhala sir, you can do it, unmute. Bhala sir,
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਕੱਲੇ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ ਨਾ ਵਿਕਾਸ ਜੀ.
well, rest of the people should keep it on mute. I don't know why they unmute themselves once even they are not even asking a query.
It's a learning process for everyone.
Yeah.
It's a learning process for everyone.
Sir, probably a large chunk of question of Rajiv Joshi was not put across, and then your answer would have to come. Or Joshi, your question is over.
No, my question is over, but the last 1 minute or so, what sir said, half a minute or so, what sir said.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Could you repeat that last question?
Give me a call, I'll explain it to you.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So
and now,
the next question.
Saurav Khurana is asking, can demarcation be done in the area which falls in the MC area?
Yes, why not?
Okay.
Where's the problem? Because I give you the reason also. Because the land is demarcated as per this consolidation which has been done in an original area, or it has been demarcated as per a Shajara Kishtewar of the original village. Please start using the word Shajara Kishtewar for the map. Shajara Kishtewar is the map of the village, and its portion of it is the Akshajara.
But then, sir, how do they establish the what they call as Pakka points in an area which has come under the MC and which has been inhabited?
That is what I'm trying to tell you, that Pakka point has to be in a particular Khasra number.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be in a particular Khasra number.
But
even
the
if
normal...
it is inhabited, you will have to say this house is in Khasra number 15. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Area, now the Khasra area of the Khasra number is 8 canals.
Right.
Correct? This Khasra number is this Khasra number 15. You made a house in 3 marlas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And then it will say north, south, east, west. You'll take the Akshajara. You'll be able to find out where exactly is this house in this Khasra number. You'll expand the Khasra number. Correct? Nowadays, you can put it on your computer, expand it, and you'll be able to see where it is. And I don't know why the revenue authorities are still going on taking those metal, what are they called? I keep forgetting the name.
Pakka point, Pakka Patthar.
No, they have those Jareebs. They are called Jareebs.
Jareeb. So what the common answer which comes from the revenue authority is that since it has now fallen under the MC area and the inhabitation has taken place and the construction has taken place, therefore no demarcation can.
Therefore, I am telling everybody to please challenge the High Court rules and orders which are based on a Financial Commissioner's instructions of 1910. I hope I've got the year right. Please open the High Court rules and orders regarding demarcation. FC instructions apply to revenue authorities. High Court adopted them.
Sir.
High Court, I think, adopted them once in the 1900s, and then nobody bothered to change them.
Sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Now, next question is by KPS Vik. Is there any limitation to challenge Fard Badar if the same has been incorporated in the Jamabandi? And he further takes the question, how to demarcate where there is no pace point in an area where consolidation has not taken place and the land is in Bigha. Biswa, Khasra numbers are irregular.
1 minute. I'll answer the first one first. If it's incorporated in the Jamabandi, the option is yours. You can either go and file a suit for declaration under section 45 because now it's an entry in the record of rights. But you can also go straight to the collector and say this exercise of jurisdiction by the, what is his name? The assistant collector, it will be the Tahsildar who will have done it, is contrary to law, and he may entertain it. There are many cases where the financial commissioners have entertained Fard Badars also. But if it is incorporated in the Jamabandi, the most appropriate thing to do is to go and file a civil suit, and don't waste your time before a revenue officer, because once you get an order in your favor from a revenue officer, the other man will file a civil suit. That Jamabandi already done. So where is the question of the financial commissioner setting it aside? Because the section 45 says, anybody aggrieved by an entry in the record of rights shall approach the civil court. It is that provision that prohibits the jurisdiction of the financial commissioner. And then also this section right at the end of the Village Common Land Act, sorry, not Village Common Land Act, Land Revenue Act. I'll just show you at the end, which gives what is prohibited and what is not prohibited.
Sir.
I'll just give you, you can read it on your own. Section 158 is the section. Except as otherwise provided by this Act, a civil court shall not.
I will just ask Sumit to post it.
Okay. If we can post it. This is
meanwhile,
the bar of
you can ask one question. One honor C, 7C has not written his name. If Mustafil number is mentioned left, off, then where is the Khevit number on the map?
I know. Keyword number is in the keyword number column number 1. Can you
Meanwhile,
put up SPS Jamabandi? I told you.
so meanwhile, Dhaval has been kind enough to post section 158.
Yeah. So this is exclusion of jurisdiction of civil courts in matters within the jurisdiction of revenue officers. So you can read that and see this is what falls to the revenue officer and this is what falls to the civil court. You can read all that if you want to.
Then again,
Keyword number, I hope it's clear. Keyword number we mentioned. Now when you'll describe land, you'll say Ram Singh, son of Sham Singh, Keyword number 10, Katoni number 120, Mushtatil number 10, Khasa number 5, 6, 7, 8. Is that clear?
yes. Now, the last question is, can status of Gair Mumkin be changed? And if yes, then what is the procedure?
Gair Mumkin be changed to what? It is already, it is land taken out. You can't, okay, you have to demolish your house to start cultivating it again. Huh? Whose question was this?
Sir, it was mine question, sir. Actually, sir, whenever bank used to give any loan to a borrower, the land is always shown in the Jamabandi as Gair Mumkin. And the day when bank take action against the concerned person, it shows that some agriculture is going on there.
So then
can
they say
it be
you
changed?
have
Once it is a
defrauded
Gair
us.
Mumkin, can the status can be changed?
No, but they will say that you brought an entry which is wrong. And you fraudulently obtained a loan. This is what they will tell you.
Because once they start their action under SARFAESI Act 2002, once they start their action under SARFAESI Act 2002, they come forward with this plea. They say that no, it's not Gair Mumkin. I want to know whether can a status can be changed once it is shown as a Gair Mumkin. Can a status be changed?
No, a status can't be changed. But what is the entry in the revenue in the Jamabandi? That will prevail, no?
Because they show
not what you have made
on the spot. This is the this crop is there. Everything they come with that forth.
So then they always. This is what always happens. Yes, the bank manager says Gair Mumkin. Can I explain why this is done?
Yes.
The bank manager Gair Mumkin so as to show that there is property over there, constructed property, to increase the value of the loan. And you can say poor agriculturist or whatever you want to say, he actually doesn't know because he has to give a cut to the bank manager also. So he tells him, Meri ta zameen meri hai. He says, koi nahi, we'll make it Gair Mumkin and value will increase because agricultural land has separate value and land which is the site of a building or this thing has separate value. And therefore, people get sucked into making these wrong entries, and in fact, sometimes they even produce fraudulent Jamabandis over there to show it as Gair Mumkin, something or the other.
Sir, generally it's happening in poultry cases because somebody wants to have a project of poultry farm. They show this Jameen, though it's a cultivable, but they show this is a Gair Mumkin land. Later on, when because the same property
you'll have a Gair Mumkin shed owner on it, no?
Bank used to give loan, but on the entire area, it is not constructed. Only part of that is constructed. But Revenue Authority showed, yes, this is Gair Mumkin.
Aise hai na? See, it is plus land attached there too. Okay. Therefore, they treat the entire as Gair Mumkin. This is some specific matter. I think I should not get into this.
And KPA,
in my opinion.
Hello.
Yeah. Next.
KPS where wants to ask a question. He can unmute himself and ask. So I think, sir, we are running slightly short of time now. It's 12:20.
Yeah.
So this would be the last question. KPS can come directly on the board and ask the question. Hello.
There was one question which was left, that how will you demarcate in case of a bika which is not rectangular, etc.
Before wrapping it off, I will just ask, in case, because there was a large number of questions barged in, I could have missed somebody. He can can all vote and ask. Meanwhile, KPN asks his question.
Yes, please do.
He had just posted a question. I want to ask a second question.
I think he's left.
Though we have been enriched a lot from this discussion, informally added. Hello. Hello.
Okay, now before I wind up, this is more or less a little brief introduction or an end of the revenue this thing. Though I have not touched the Khasa Gidavaris and what is the meaning of the Watar and how the land from one harvest, Hadi, Soni, what is Hadi, what is Soni, what is Rabi, what is Kharif, that I can do in a separate one later.
So second,
and how it is.
Unlocking part 3 would be next week. KPL work is just entering. Somehow there was a disconnection. He's just entering.
Okay, before he goes, I'll just tell you one thing.
The KPS is online.
Topic, 1 minute. Just tell him to be quiet for a minute. The next topic, which is a natural progression of this topic, is the Consolidation Act. Because that is the only act under which you will understand how these rectangles are made, why they are made, and what are the 5 documents of consolidation. Jaideep, can you just quickly put them up if you have it? Javeer, sorry I keep saying Jaideep to you. Javeer, are you there or have you run away?
नहीं Javeer ने तो बल्कि question पूछा है तानु chat box से.
Javeer, just put up that consolidation documents.
I got it.
So
I'll
that,
just put it up right away.
And can you just put them up on the WhatsApp group so everybody can read them next time?
Javeer?
Yes, I got it. I'm just putting it up.
The last one, procedure for consolidation.
You got it?
I've got it. Should I click it?
This is open. This can be read. The procedure adopted can be read from starting. You can just read it.
You have to click it.
I need to expand.
Javeer will have to click it. Javeer?
Yes.
Javeer will have to click it. You'll have to click it, Javeer.
You haven't opened it.
Wait, I'll just. Just a minute. Just a minute. I'm doing it.
Just open it.
But please send all these documents on your WhatsApp group, and then questions are more.
Can you see it now?
Yeah.
I'll just quickly go through that. Abadi area inside Lal Lakir is not disturbed during consolidation. Details I give you later. The first document is called Khatani Ijtimal. Second is Naksha Hakdarwar. Then Register Karway. Then Khatani Paimaish. And Misal Hakiyat is the final document. That is the first Jamabandi prepared after consolidation. These words are little tongue twisters. It'll be difficult for you. But next time when I request you all to at least go through what these are. There'll be a little confusion on some things which I'll explain to you what these things actually mean and what the entire process. It's actually very simple. It's only because the words are a little are tongue twisters that we all get stuck in this. So now just please keep this with you. Jadi, can you just put it up on your WhatsApp group of this?
Yes, I'll put it.
So that they're all familiar with these terms. And next time you meet each other, say Khatani Ijtimal. Okay, next. Who's the next?
Javeer himself had posed a question. He can ask directly.
Yes,
Javeer, you can
ask.
So I was just clarifying with regard to a Kharif crop will be sown in the summer and harvested by November. Is that right, sir?
Which one?
A Kharif crop.
There are 2 crops.
Kharif and the Rabi.
Correct?
Yes, so
you tell me how many crops do you have in a year, generally? Kharif is sown in summer. Kharif is sown in summer, harvested in October. The exact dates are available in the land records manual as to how they are sown, how they are harvested. And Rabi is sown in winter and harvested in summer. We are going through the Rabi crop right now. So Rabi is wheat. The other one you can say is rice. Now it's also the word that causes confusion is Hardy and Soni.
Yes.
In Punjab, you also refer to them as Hardy and Soni. Now, a way of understanding one small little trick which all revenue lawyers understand is Hardy is 4 words, Rabi is 4 words. 4 words. So
Okay.
Hari is the same as Rabi. Kharif and Soni are 5-5. So Kharif and Soni are the same. The little tricks of trying to understand. 5-5, same word, 4-4. Understood? I hope everybody's understood.
Thank you.
But I'll explain to you how the Khasa Godavari comes. That's that line which is there in the Khasa Godavari's left and right. In Haryana, it is from one direction to the other. In Punjab, the directions are different. So when you are looking at Khasa Godavari's in Punjab and Haryana, there are different directions of waters. I'll explain that next time.
There's a request from Puneet Sekho. Since majority of the documents have been shared by either Javeer, Sumit Jain or Vishal Agarwal, one of them has to consolidate, do a pro bono work, and she has requested it could be circulated on that CLC group.
It'll be done, sir. I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll
So meanwhile, I think so. There's no other question. But before we wind up, I will just ask, since Varuna is from Delhi, she has certain ideas how to go about in the law and how to proceed by virtual platform, video conferencing, etc. Because we all lawyers, it may not happen one day that we are all enriched with knowledge, but we do not know how to go about it in the courtrooms. What in the WhatsApp jokes are coming, मैं करता की सी, रहता किथे सी.
कोई नहीं, don't bother. Don't bother. You make your own jokes.
Varuna will tell slightly
yes, Varuna.
The roadmap ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. The knowledge imparted by Justice Rajiv Bhalla is like very enriching and very helpful. My father, he used to talk in these terminologies, and we could never understand. And today it is making much sense to me. So now, the Delhi High Court, they have started, because there was a lot of pressure from the lawyers that the court should start functioning. So they are starting 10 benches from 20th of, that is Monday. So everything is going to be virtual. Punjab and Haryana is lucky to have Justice Muralidhar as their chief. He has been the person who has actually brought in this entire computerization in Delhi, though it was for reducing the bulk of the court work. But they did not know that it would be used for corona salvation. So they have bought a software called Cisco WebEx. It's like they have taken the license, Delhi High Court had taken a license of Cisco WebEx. And it is a US based company. And so with that, the virtual courts have been set up. Earlier also we had around 8 e-courts already functioning before the corona happened. So now what they are going to do is that 6 DBs and for signing of the order and
you have to get closer to your mic.
So he would be sending it either through the messenger to the other judge or by their digital signatures, which they have been using for their
Varuna ma'am, kindly keep your iPad slightly closer to your face. The audibility is slightly poor.
Is it better now?
Yeah, much better.
So the messenger will take the judgment to the signed judgment to the other judge, and he will sign and upload it, or it would be digitally signed, and that would be done. So see, one fine day, all the lawyers cannot be going to the courts. And that is the possibility that is being seen for at least next 3 months. Unless there is some vaccination or there is some treatment that comes out of coronavirus. So the setup is like this, that judges, wherever they are, earlier they were thinking that the judges will come to the courtrooms and but not sit in the court, they will sit in their chambers. But now they will be sitting from in their own respective houses, or if they are in some other state, even then that is that they will be connected through this Cisco WebEx. And then there is the lawyers who do not have a video conferencing facility. For them, there are these courtrooms which have been set up in the court premises, that they will go by case and do the arguments through video conferencing. So that is what is being seen right now, the way forward. So that is where we are. From 20th, the courts are starting to function in Delhi. All the district courts are also equipped with the same process. And as far as lawyers are concerned, the directive is that one clerk and the lawyers, the juniors, should be connected with Zoom, and the files should be digitalized so that they can be uploaded on the already filed cases, and every record comes online for everyone. So going to because Delhi normally we do not have offices in our own houses, so or some people are operating from the chambers alone, so they have been advised to do that. That's what is the way forward we are looking at. So that's where we are.
Thank you, ma'am. Meanwhile, before we wind up, I will just like to say a few words before Deepak Jindal will give a formal vote of thanks. Sir, I am reminded on a Zee TV, Mithun Chakravarti saying, "Kya baat, kya baat, kya baat." After hearing you, it's reminding me, actually it is kya baat, kya baat, kya baat. And we have learned har baat, har baat, har baat. Though every time we will learn it. The style of guiding us is always concise, precise, and incise. That's the way I think all lawyers have to learn the art of drafting. Also, we will have someday a talk from you, how to draft better, how to write better, how to learn better. Meanwhile, Deepak Jindal has asked. Deepak Jindal will just give a vote of thanks.
Yes. Well, nothing more remains to be said after Vikas Bhaiya's kya baat and har baat. But even then, a very sincere and a big thank you to Mr. Justice Rajiv Bhalla ji for such a spectacular session on unlocking revenue law. See, this has been rightly worded as unlocking revenue law, because these revenue terms, this revenue law was really locked in our minds. And we have a very deep sense of appreciation for a very enriching explanation on these terms, Khewat, Khatoni, and this really tongue twister term, Mushtatil. Sir, we assure you, now it is no more mushkil for us to pronounce it Mushtatil. And we have understood it fully now. From a range of topics like regarding entries of ownership, settlement of rights, nature of land, Kyaar Mumkin, Banjar Kadeem, Banjar Jadid, Chahi, Barani. What is the validity of orders of land revenue officers? We had a very enriching experience, sir. We thank all the participants also for having such a spectacular webinar, and we have all very greatly learned, sir, and we have all been inspired. by your session. Thank you very much, sir.
Just before winding up, I will ask Vipul to come on the board because one of the session Vipul is to take. Vipul will introduce himself, the day and time he's there. And sir, just to, for the information of the other members who are already on the panel, Mr. P.S. Patwalia has agreed to give one talk. Probably Mr. Atul Nanda is coming. Mr. Puneet Bali has agreed. Then we have Anirudh Krishnan from Delhi, Anirudh Vadwa from Delhi, who is the arbitration law. So we will just get it flooded with lot of sessions. I think it will be enriching.
Vikas, Justice Kumar has also agreed.
That's fantastic. Before we just part, Vipul, just give slight introduction and when you are coming on the board.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, as Vikas, you have taken some big stalwart names of renowned judges who are coming. So, I'll also make an attempt to give a webinar on the concept of damages under Section 73, 74 of the Contract Act. And since in all our cases, be it related to consumer matters or otherwise, we are continuously dealing with this subject. Especially if you're doing arbitrations, the concept of damages becomes very important. So I thought that I'll just share that with you. So next week, we can do it on Wednesday, 4 o'clock, as Vikas had suggested. So I would just request everyone, please be there. Please feel free to ask questions, and I'll try my humble best to answer all your queries.
But, for everyone, though everyone would have read it on the WhatsApp group, next session, though it will not 1.5 hours because question and answers in the second session of 4 o'clock, which we have started off. The team has decided that the session for the evening session would be short. The topic for today is primer on the IBC, insolvency and bankruptcy court. The key speaker is Anirudh Vadwa, who is a practicing advocate at Delhi and Supreme Court. Plus, he is the co-chief editor of Bachawat's Law of Arbitration and Conciliation, chief editor of Vadwa Law Chambers. I suppose it will also be an enriching, and arbitration is an incoming field. So, thank you to everybody who has participated. For updates, they can visit the WhatsApp group or the Facebook page. Thank you. Stay blessed. Stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Prashant.